Finally, Spurs fans! Finally! The San Antonio Spurs have re-signed Sandro Mamu and Charles Bassey. What is up, San Antonio Spurs fans? Welcome to TSR Sports. The news broke last night, so let's get into it today. The Spurs re-signed Charles Bassey and Sandro Mamu each to a one-year, $2.2 million deal. Spurs fans will be excited about the news. I am, especially for Mamu, who everyone hoped would receive more playing time last season. Not everybody, but a good, large percentage of you did. The moves are extremely low risk for San Antonio. That they are. Let's start off with Charles Bassey. Charles Bassey will have to prove that he can stay on the court. Yeah. He suffered season-ending injuries in the last two seasons. Fractured patella, torn ACL, both to the left knee, I believe. But he's a big body and he'll defend the rim with energy. The Spurs need to have a player on the roster besides Victor Wembanyama who will challenge shots viciously. And he does fit that bill. When Bassey blocks your ball, yeah, there's no doubt it's a block. He didn't it's not just the tip when he's blocking a shot. He's launching that thing to the stratosphere, brother. All right, anyway, let's move on to Mamu. Mamu started getting more playing time. Whoa, what's going on here? My computer's acting weird. There we go. Mamu started getting more playing time with Wemby at the end of the season. When they were on the floor together, there was an obvious advantage to the pairing. Because of their history in European leagues, they see the game similarly and play well together. They did. They really did. It would have been criminal not to give Sandro another shot at the team with expanded minutes. I agree 100 million% with Air Alamo there. This being so cheap, the deals being so cheap means there's virtually no risk for the Spurs while giving them more assets to use if they need be. They could choose to move either player at the trade deadline, can carve out a long-term role, and even if that doesn't happen, and San Antonio lets them walk at the end of the year, no harm done making this a smart move. Low risk, high reward. So let's get into these signings, and I'm sure a lot of you are excited. You sure were last night. The Mamu news. That's great news. As mentioned, he played so well with Wemby at the end of the season. Why would we want to roll this again? I expect more minutes from him, and I think this is just a good move on the Spurs. As far as Charles Bassey, I like Charles Bassey. I like what I've seen from him. He's a great rebounder, a great shot blocker, as we mentioned. His career per 36-minute average, since he's had such limited playing time, just to give us a better idea of what he does when he's on the floor, his per 36 is 13.5 rebounds and 2.7 blocks. He's a pretty solid defender. Offense, there's some things he needs to work on. The biggest thing is the injuries. From what I'm reading, he's not going to be available until mid-season next season. And so far, he hasn't been able to prove that he can stay healthy. I hope he can be healthy next season. Because if we need some defense out there and a change of pace, let's take Zach Collins out and put Charles Bassey in. We saw it last year. We'll see it again next year when he's good to go. But you may see somebody else on the thumbnail thinking, hey, wait a minute, I've seen this dude before. TSR's talking about him, or you know who it is right away. And you don't want to get into the overreacting thing with last night's performance, but I felt like we need to talk about Riley Minix, and this excerpt is from Spurs Talk. I'm going to leave a link to Air Alamo, which the first article was in Spurs Talk, if you want to look at his grades for last night. Anyway, let's talk about Riley Minix finally getting some substantial playing time after dislocating his shoulder in the Summer League. Here we go. You got to feel great for Minix. He dislocated his shoulder a few seconds into his Summer League debut. I believe he played a minute 19, Spurs fans. So yes, not a lot of time. But was able to return tonight, or last night, and did really good work. Minix was a big-time scorer in college. That offensive talent translated well. He was 4 for 6 from three-point range and made a handful of wise, unselfish passes. Minix's size looks like it should be an advantage, as he was even able to be a post-up threat. I believe he's 6'8", 230, so he's a solid dude. His defense was a step slow, and we're not sure yet if he can make an adequate adjustment, I'm reading that all wrong. His defense was a step slow, and not sure yet he has an adequate amount of athleticism. But this was a really good first extended outing for the rookie. If he can have another game like this, he may earn a two-way contract. Yeah. Absolutely. If he plays like this again, and at the Spurs, which it looks like we will be part of the little NBA 2K25 tournament, looks like we're going to make that, and he keeps playing like this, yeah, he's going to give him a two-way, the Spurs are going to give him a two-way contract. We have 2 open slots at the moment, spots, whatever you want to call it. And speaking of two-way contracts, I want to give a shout-out to one that's the only one that's currently signed. A shout-out to the Booyah! Jamari Bouye with 2 clutch, huge shots at the end of the game to get the Spurs a victory. A 2-pointer and a step-back 3-pointer. I got to say, I don't know if Bouye is a guy that's ever going to make the roster and get, or at least get substantial minutes in the roster. Maybe he could be a role player. But he has been impressing me in the Summer League. And I got to call it like I see it. He's been playing some stout defense, getting a lot of block shots for somebody his height. So I give a shout out to the Bouye. Well, I want to stay with Summer League for a moment because, it's happening. Got to give a shout out to City Sissoko's defense. His offense was blah last night. He did get to the line a lot, but the offense was, But his dean, he was menacing Jordan Hawkins, who showed a lot of promise last year with the Pelicans and held Hawkins to 2 of 8 shooting in 30 minutes. There's a defensive upside there, I think, with City Sissoko. He played some great defense. The thing is, will his offense come around? Can he just get enough of offense somewhere? Develop a mid-range, a 3-point shooter, or just be a great finisher at the rim? Give us something offensively, because we know, from what we're seeing at least, based on last night, take a grain of salt, but we've seen other moments. There could be some huge defensive upside there for him. So keep an eye on City. Also keep an eye on Donovan Williams. Played very well last night, had a huge dunk in traffic. Just keep an eye on that name moving forward in the Summer League. I think he scored 15 points last night. And last but not least, we're gonna do a little NBC thing here. Did you know? A viewer mentioned this last night, and I thought they were trolling me. I looked it up on Basketball Reference, and it was correct. Zach Collins shot just under 48% from 3 after the All-Star break. What? 48%? Now, granted, he shot about 26-27% before the All-Star break and started the season with an 0 for 11 performance and had another stretch where he missed like 7 or 8 in a row. But almost 48%. I was like, we've been talking on the channel a lot, myself included. How do we move on from Zach Collins? He's not a great defender. He can't rebound. And those are true things. But we've acted like Zach Collins has no value. I certainly have felt like he's not showing us anything because I'm looking at the overall stats for last year. I'm like, he shot 32% from 3. That's his worst. He's supposed to be a stretch 5, maybe a stretch 4, depending on the team. And he's not giving us that. But he did. And honestly, I missed it. If he could come out of the gates next year, shooting 40+% from 3 and hold 40% or more until the All-Star break, might be a great chance for the Spurs to move on from him. Or keep him if he's showing to be a valuable asset off the bench. Time will tell. I hope that production repeats itself, and I will certainly... I'm the first to be happy to be wrong about one of our players, saying, I don't know if they're the guy, I don't see it anymore. And if Zach Collins can play up to his contract next season, that's a good thing. Whether he stays on the bench for a couple years or if the Spurs decide to move on from him because we have all those draft picks coming up over the next few years. So, Spurs fans, drop a comment down below. Your thoughts? I'm guessing you're all happy about the Mamu signing for the most part. There's a small percentage that aren't. Hey, I get it. Respect your opinion. We don't all agree on who's the best fit for the Spurs. Your thoughts on Bassey? Do you like that move? Low risk, high reward, but our guy can't stay healthy. And your thought on Rodney Minix's debut? The big clutch shots by Bouye? Did you keep an eye on Donovan Williams? And the Zach Collins news. Are you shocked to actually know he shot that well at the end of the year? Or the second half of the year? So let me know. Always like to hear what you guys have to say. Hit the thumbs up, like, support the channel, and subscribe to become part of our awesome San Antonio Spurs community. I thank you for watching, and as always, go Spurs go!
Too happy.